I put the milk on gas to boil and forgot. Then this happened. Should I leave this planet now? Okay, that's not at all what I expected to see when I moved over here. You grew a creature in your pot. You created a being of sorts. Why? Why would you create a being? Why'd you do that, man? You shouldn't do that, dude. When did you start boiling it? The Mesozoic era? Damn, yeah, you must have left it there forever. What am I doing today? Ah, the Mad Ones. So that's where they were. Oh, no. Dude, this is so cinematic. Absolutely beautiful. I feel like there should be some sort of dramatic scoring backtrack here to really sell. You know what? There is a chance, though, I will say, that these could be fine. These could be A-O fine. My mom keeps putting Cokes in the freezer, even though we've told her 1,000 times not to. I don't know why I said Cokes like that. I think it's because I almost said cookies, but then I actually read the word, and there we go. Ah, oh my God, dude. Wow. Look, this is the rule, folks. If you're gonna put a sody pop in the freezer, you need to set yourself like a 10-minute timer, 15 tops. 15 tops, brother, because past that point, it's gonna blow up. You don't need it that cold. I do it all the time. I will throw a soda in the freezer when I get home, if it's one that got warm while I was out, or it wasn't refrigerated when I bought it, or whatever, to speed up the process. We all do this. It's fairly normal. But usually after the first lesson, the first time your can blows up and makes it impossible to clean your freezer, you stop doing it, or you remember forever. All right, it's one or the two, one or the other. My God, I can't speak this evening. This building with red and white facade, or facade, if you're crazy enough. A red and white facade. Okay. Look, I get it. You see that little out of pattern piece, and you're gonna get mad. But what's gonna make you even more mad is that I have to interject and say, it looks fine. I am normally the type to see a detail like this out of place in a way that looks like it's designed to piss you off. Because genuinely, I don't know what else it could have been that they were thinking here when they were painting this building. There is no way they didn't do this on purpose. Like a lot of the details we see on these subreddits, no way this was el accidente. What did I just fucking say? No, there's no way that it was an accident. Editor, can you cut that out? I sounded stupid as shit. No way this was el accidente. El accidente. El accidente. I told my kids they had to throw away the packaging when they ate the last one and not leave it empty. Oh, they got your ass, okay? They totally got your ass. It's like in our household, right? In our house, we've told each other, like, hey, so if you throw something away or put something in the recycling bin and it's just full, can you just take it out? And so now it sort of became that competition of stacking the recycling bin into the air because we don't want to accept it as full. Like, dog, just do it. But of course your kids are going to be smart asses and totally get your ass on this. They're gonna do it, all right? You know what? Make them buy the next batch. It's time for the next rule. Don't open a new package unless the old package is completely finished. But don't do that, though, because they're going to let everything rot and go to waste out of spite. That's what they'll do, and then it'll be a waste of food and money. Spotted at a nursing home. Nurse's office. Oh, okay. I mean, this one's a little mildly infuriating, but what is it with people and having this fundamental misunderstanding of Braille? What is it? It's not a visual language. It is a tactile language. People have to feel it. It's not like someone who has sight is going to learn to visually fucking read Braille. Although I'm sure you could if you were a psycho, but that's not the point, man. Am I wrong about Braille? Am I crazy? A tactile writing system. That's what, what is wrong with everyone? Paid $200 to go see a Broadway play. You know what? I know exactly what this one is. Yep. Man, it sucks. So that's an actual Broadway play. You're on Broadway, baby. Those seats do not account for people with 12-foot hair, okay? They also don't account for people that are taller. I believe humanity is on average taller than it was back when Broadway was constructed, you know? I actually don't know how old this theater is, but I would have to imagine it's at least 100, right? If you're on Broadway. I've only been to one Broadway theater to see Mary Poppins back in 2009, so it's been a little while. I am glad that this was not my experience, though. I can't get too mad at people for because this is just a woman who did her hair up to go out and see a show. But we don't often think about our giant hair, making it impossible for someone to see the show they also paid a ton of money to go see, right? But I'm not going to get irrationally upset at random woman number 48, unless she's like 7 feet tall. Okay, that made it sound like if she's really tall, then I would suddenly start being No, that's not what I mean. You know what I'm trying to say. And if you don't, that's unfortunate, man. That's unfortunate, because here on EmKay, you just have to know what I mean at all times. In the same way that when I'm driving, I never use a turning signal, because everyone should just know what I'm gonna do, right?
I turn now. Good luck, everybody else.
My kid's teacher correcting her work to capitalize words in the middle of a sentence. What? As you make your way through the muddy streets, you hear blah, 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 blah. You stand excited, wrong. As you move carefully, correct. As you make your way, wrong. The sound of church bells, they ring out loud. Okay, I am not the most educated man in the world, but isn't the rule about capitalizing the beginning of a word in the middle of a sentence usually relegated to names? Is it proper nouns that we capitalize, or is it just the name of a thing? Like if I were to say, you stand excitedly in the middle of London. London is capitalized because is that the, look, I'm going to date myself. I'm going to make myself look like a moron here, but at least I'm not the teacher who seems to be incorrectly critiquing this child's, wait a minute, hold on. Did they even correct loudly? Did the kid just not put an L there? Is that what happened? Because I can't see the letter she wrote over. They ring out, you know what, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter to me, brother. Pituitary cancer survivor. Can't survive any age checks? You can't survive any age checks. Does that mean you're dying all the time? I'm 16, by the way. There's a pretty huge gap between 10 and 16. Pituitary gland, that stalk that hangs from your brain that produces many hormones like testosterone and growth hormone. Cancer diminished all of that function, so now I can't get through age checks. Yay! Your age info doesn't match. We'll change your age to 10 in the next 2 days. You may lose access to some features, but you can still use experience chat. You can verify your birthday with an ID or ask your parents to change it in settings. Oh, that really sucks. That is, I just clocked what was really happening here. And it's great how people with disabilities have fought for so long to get some form of fucking equity in society, and they barely have any of that. And it really, really sucks when there is a disability like this, because I would consider this to be a disability, right? I would. I don't know if this person does or not, but it just kind of sucks that there's no fucking recourse. You could spend weeks emailing back and forth with this website, but at the end of the day, they're going to do what all the websites do and go, well, we can't do anything about that. Sorry about that. You're lying, actually, and you're not a person. That's what they always do, right? I would like to thank the countries that started the ID fucking bullshit under the quote-unquote guise, not quote-unquote guise, under the guise of protecting children, because that's what it is. You don't want to protect kids. You don't give a fuck, dude. I just wanted a normal morning. My coffee said no. At least it wasn't full. Wait, was that full? Hold on, let me zoom in here. I need to see something. Yeah, it looks like there's some coffee like pooled up in the bottom here of this shard of mug, but there's no coffee anywhere else on the floor. Why am I hung up on this? This is going well. Honestly, perfect mug for this to happen with. My 4-year-old son deleted 400 gigabytes of my PS5 games while I was at work today. Hot damn, dude. Very, very cool. Very awesome. Man, look, I'm gonna be that asshole for just a second. Not by being an actual jerk. I'm gonna be that guy that's like, well, I mean, physical media sure does reign supreme, doesn't it? But I can't really say that because there are so many games that are too large now for even 4K UHD discs, right? I think the biggest that I had heard about recently was when they finally released a physical edition of Alan Wake 2, they had all but the second DLC on the disc. Like, all of it is on that disc. The problem is games are also so big now that you can't just play off the disc. I don't think that's impossible. I don't think the throughput of that laser is fast enough. It's unfortunate that you have to have terabytes of storage. You do. You really do, man. It sucks. Indie games are still killing it because your average indie game is 3 megabytes. Oblivion Remastered is 120 gigabytes. And, you know, if you've got a whole slew of Call of Duty on your computer or your console, God forbid, it takes up 300 to 400 gigabytes on its own. Oh my God, what is going on in the world of game development? Guys, they can't continue to be this large. Fourth graders' answer to an exam question. But was it a good answer? Can we say something has HIV or AIDS just by looking at them? Explain your answer. Yes, when they act dumb. What? A fourth grader's learning about HIV and AIDS? What school did I go to? I'm trying to learn when, I think I started learning about that in, it's funny, the 5th grade. I think the 5th grade is when we started like sex education. So I'm making a joke here, but I was only a year later on this sort of shit. But what an answer. What the kind of answer is that? Where did they get this behavior from? Because there's no way mom and dad were talking to them about AIDS and HIV and all this weird shit that they would have learned. There's no way. There's no way. So where'd they get this from exactly? What did you say, Teach? What did you say while teaching them about STDs, dude? Okay, you didn't do anything, obviously, but wow. What? Also, a lesser thing to really point out here, much lesser, that spacing is diabolical. This kid is really overdoing it with the 12 times spacing. This kid is using tab. He is tabbing while writing. That is next level shit. Hopefully, this gets discussed and something comes of it. How my girlfriend eats her fried egg, not at all what I envisioned. Look, is there not a way to just get rid of the yolk? Does she make this or do you make it? Because if she's making it, seems kind of odd that she wouldn't just put in the extra effort of just draining the You can drain the yolk, can't you? Where the f we get egg whites from? I feel like you can do that. Over 10 years expired food handed out at the food pantry. Huh, 2012. Okay, now, disgusting and evil and shitty. However, I am curious about something. This is dry goods. These are pasta shells, right? They're dehydrated. How soon do they realistically expire on the shelf? Because I did learn something. I believe there was a Climate Town, the YouTube channel Climate Town. I think they did an episode about expiration dates and how we forced the industry to set them. But even they say that a lot of the expiration dates are just guesswork or pattern recognition from, you know, like milk, like that. Like, obviously milk goes bad pretty fast in this scenario. But I'm pretty sure a lot of it is guessing. How long? Let's look this up. This company actually has an FAQ, and they say, look, just go by our dates. Honestly, I'd give this a try. I'd give it a try. Look, you're boiling them anyway for several minutes. Let's give these 15-year-old pasta noodles a try, right? Or these 13. Yeah. My Family Guy downloads expired after 12 hours. Your Family Guy downloads. What? I had a flight 5 minutes after realizing this. All corporations can burn in hell. Wait, what? Hold on. What app is this, dude? Is it Disney Plus? Oh my God, that is so freaking lame, dude. So after 12 hours, they just lock themselves? Oh, dude, it's so bad. Streaming needs to crumble. It needs to crumble. Data centers are destroying the f***ing world, not because of streaming. It's mainly, you know, generative AI bullshit. Like, what in the hell do you mean these have to have a 12-hour lock on them? Thanks a lot, assholes. And they know people are going to download the night before, and they set them like that. That's all right. I'm going to move on before I start getting real steamed up. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry. My mom does this thing called weaponized gifting, where she chooses the worst possible gifts ever so you'll never expect anything palatable from her. I do believe we have seen this one. Yes, I don't know what the f this is, but isn't like weaponized gifting some form of humiliation, ritual abuse bullshit or something like that? That's not very funny, you know? Like, she's wasting her own money. I would rather you just not get me a gift. It's fine. It's fine if you don't. Get me a card that just says you were thinking of me for like $1 or something, 20 cents, whatever. Don't get me something that obviously you're not going to throw these away. You're just going to donate them. I would hope you donate them because as goofy as they are, this is the sort of thing that someone would find at a thrift store and go, f***ing score, dude. Absolutely. But why even bother wasting your money on that you know someone's gonna hate? That seems really weird, and it feels kinda gross in a way, you know? Tactical Uggs. Are those Uggs? No, they're not. There's no way. I mean, at least not real ones, right? Can you imagine spending hundreds of dollars on something? Again, you know someone's gonna dislike. I've cut my own hair for years. Well, this morning while doing my holiday haircut, this happened. Aw, shit. You know what? Now you have to have someone draw a little face in there. I think that's the only solution to this little problem here, okay? I bought an ice cream, and the stick inside had a sharp point. I feel like this is the sort of thing you could definitely bring up to the company. If nothing else, they'll give you a coupon for another ice cream for free, because that is beyond unacceptable for quality assurance right there. That could someone's mouth up pretty bad. And if it's a child eating it, I don't know what could possibly happen. Probably worse. New work laptops issued. My muscle memory will never recover from this. Oh, man. Yep. That's a tough break, my friend. That is a tough break. But you know what? You're right. Your muscle memory's never going to recover. I'm kidding. You're going to be just fine. It'll bug you for a week, and then you'll get used to it so much faster than you think you will. Trust in that. Coming from a guy that's, I guess, never had a work laptop before. I don't know. But you'll be all right. Now get out there, soldier, and clock the in. There is no reason these lights should be at eye level with sedan drivers. Yeah, you're right. You're right. An entire ass family could stand in front of that truck and the driver wouldn't be able to see it. This mutually assured destruction bullshit going on with American trucks, and if you think for a second you'll know what that means, is insane. Told the district manager that my coworker and I were overworked and underappreciated. Came into this. Were you guys fired? It's Trader Joe's Jingle Jangle Mix. You should ask to be fired. Thank you for all that you do. I appreciate you all. Look, I don't really even know what to say, because you have to take your wins where you can get them, I guess. But if I was telling my boss, hey, we are overworked, and you don't appreciate our overwork, that we did all this do, and they verbatim do, I appreciate all of you for all that you do, the next day on a box of cookies or something, it is a little it sucks. There's got to be something that these bosses can do. It would piss me off a little bit. Like, I know this looks like trying, but I don't know if it really is. Royal Mail handed my wife's parcel with a high-value item to a random dog walker in my street. It's great to see that all postal workers are f***ing insane. I've heard worse things about Royal Mail than the USPS, and I know USPS sucks. USPS gets a hell of a rap. I totally get it. I understand why, all right? The reason, by the way, every post office near you has like a 2 to 2.5 star average is because people don't read rules, they do not prepare themselves for what they need before going into a post office, and then they act like little pissy bitches when the postal worker's like, we can't do that. I gotta give a little bit of credit to postal workers, but I don't have to give a little bit of credit to postal workers in the UK. I don't, because what the hell do you mean you just gave it to someone? I'm assuming you never got it. Popeyes no longer gives you honey for your biscuits. Instead, you get honey sauce. First ingredient, corn syrup. Can that actually be cheaper for them? That is just pathetic and lame. Look, I know Popeyes isn't exactly any kind of authentic anything, really, you know? It's really f***ing bad fake Cajun in a fast food box, but you couldn't even keep giving us the artificial honey or whatever it was that you had. I don't actually know if we have artificial honey. It might be this. I think this is artificial honey. Anyway, I really hope it's not for the reason I think it is. I hope it's just standard corporate greed. I really hope it's not because the world's about to lose honey and bees very soon. You know what happens if we lose honeybees, right?